Okay, I feel like I'm already overthinking this, but hi, welcome back to this channel, and today, hopefully I don't forget everything that I'm gonna say, otherwise that would be very bad, but anyways, these last few days, like 3, I have been feeling like a stale bread. I feel like I've been shoved in the cabinet, and like it's been in there for a couple of days, right? And it's not like bakery fresh, obviously, but it's not like you're gonna go in there and bite it and be like, oh my god, it's moldy. It's not like that. Like, that's not my life. It just feels like you taste it and you're like, this is mid. Basically, my life feels like a very stale bread. I would wake up, I would go eat something healthy, and then I would go write. And then afterward, once I'm feeling pretty bored and I've had my lunch, I will take my dog and I will go out for a walk, a nature walk, and then I will go back and then I will go write some more. But then nothing feels good. I'm doing all the right stuff, like the stuff that you would typically think a healthy person would do, but it just feels, I could not shake this numbing feeling for the life of me. I started spiraling. I started like thinking about, or if I were to do this or that to make my life better, if I went and got this thing, or if that thing came in the mail. And I was thinking to myself, I was saying, my life is going to be better once this happened. My life was going to be better when that happened specifically. And it was just this whole thing. And then finally on day 3, after doing the same stuff I did on 1 and 2, I went to the shower and I had a few shower thoughts. And because I'd read something prior to going into the shower, right, I started thinking about appreciation. I started thinking about celebrities specifically as well, because I was thinking about being famous and stuff. But I was thinking about celebrities, and I was thinking about how they got such high praise. A lot of them get high praise. You could go on like a TikTok and you'll probably find, like, especially if it's like a high acclaimed celebrity, you'll find praise after praise after praise, like them being appreciated. But there's a long history of celebrities being super depressed. There's a lot of celebrities that like come out and start talking about like mental health, like specifically how their mental health is bad, their self-harm and things of that nature, because they've come out with this, and I think it's a good thing because it shows that they are real people. But then I started thinking about it. It's like, okay, so we have a lot of depressed celebrities, that are self-harming and doing all these detrimental things because they have these detrimental thoughts, and that there's like a list of so many like attempted suicides and completed suicides, specifically with celebrities, even though they have such high praise, even though they probably have the things that like everybody wants, right? The nice cars, the different like houses, the like wellness care packages, or just any of that stuff that we would typically want. They have that, and then they have like all this like appreciation, external appreciation, but then there's these statistics. So I was thinking, like, okay, why is this happening? And then I had this really smart moment where I was like, so there's external appreciation, there's all of that, but what about internal appreciation? What if they can't appreciate the external stuff because their internal mind is so clogged with, almost this self-hatred, if, low self-esteem is their issue, and then they could be having like all these voices telling them that they're doing great, and obviously they have some hate as well, but a lot of voices telling them they're doing great, especially for those high acclaimed celebrities. But then in their head they're thinking, oh my god, I'm such a failure. I won't be happy until I have this thing or that thing. And this also applies to real life as well. We look at people, like even in our own lives, and we think, wow, they must not have any problems. They have everything that I want and they must be living a great life. But then what if they're thinking the exact same thing? What if they were, like back then, they were thinking, oh my god, I wish I had this and that, but then they got this and that, and they're still having the same exact feeling. And then I was like, oh my god, wait a second, that's me. A couple years back, like I was kind of down bad in a way. I feel like COVID wasn't everybody's best years, but even before that, I was struggling, and I was just thinking, if I had this, and that thing, if I became this type of girl, if I had like those type of friends, or da-da-da-da, I would be so happy. I'd never be bored. I'd never like take things for granted ever again. And then I ended up getting those things. Like I became the girl that my past self would have been so jealous of. Like I would literally be going into school, like back when I was in school, and I would see myself years from now and be like, oh my god, she is the it girl. And a lot of people were, having sort of praise over me too. And that's not me trying to be braggadocious. It was just like, a lot of people were like, Samantha, how do you do what you do? They would ask me for advice. They'd ask me, how do I do my hair? How do I do like my makeup? How do I just anything like that? And I've had a lot of situations because of what I figured out how to manifest, and I became that person. And then there's still those moments, there's still those days where I feel so stale and I'm like, if I had this thing, I would literally be 10 times happier. But it's that same thinking that's failing me now, so why do I keep thinking that? And I kept thinking about it in the shower. I was like, whoa. But then what was even more interesting was that I started trying to think about, the things that like I'd gained in like the situation that I was in, and I couldn't bring up any specifics. Like, if I was back then, I would have brought up so many specifics that I wanted to go change, and I knew those things changed, but I didn't know what specifically had changed. It was just like I completely forgot like all the trauma that I had from like elementary and middle school. It was just gone. Like, I was just a person on this earth who knew that things got better, but it was more in the subconscious rather than the conscious, because I wasn't feeling like appreciative of it. So I have this idea, right, where I'm like, okay, what are the things I am appreciative of myself for? Internal appreciation. What are the things that I am most proud of myself for doing? So then I kind of went a little bit more broad with it, because the thinking would have gone past me running out of hot water and having my family mad at me. So obviously I went a little bit more broad with it, without thinking way too hard on it. And then I came up with a few examples that I can share here on YouTube that aren't too personal, but like I said, can share on here to give you an idea of what this appreciation journey thing looks like. So the first thing that I happened to come up with was that I wrote 5 books by the time that I was 18 years old. And these are books that I haven't really technically published, because the 3 novellas that I wrote are on Wattpad, because I was a Wattpad kid. I still am. But anyways, flashback to 2020. I was literally a kid who all I wanted to do was play Roblox. School is not in session, and it technically was in the house because COVID hit pretty bad where I was specifically. I'd stopped being bullied and stuff, so I was like, okay, this is cool. So all I did was like play Roblox. I didn't really have any aspirations previous to that. I was just a kid, but then all of a sudden I had this aspiration to go write. Like, I wanted to go write a book, so then I went and I wrote a book. I just stopped playing Roblox as much to go write this thing, and I didn't really know what it was going to be. But then all of a sudden, when I was 14 years old, towards the end of freshman year, I had written like a full book, 135,000 words, which in perspective is 500 pages. I don't know a lot of 14-year-olds that do that, but the fact that I did that as a kid who was playing Roblox, like, I don't know, I was like on Flickr and Murder Mystery like 24/7. But the fact that I went from that to getting on a computer and doing something that 35-year-olds typically do and sometimes never finish, I did that. The second thing that I'm appreciative for specifically too is going to be my hair, because I struggled with my hair for years, like years upon years. I tried everything to make it look good. But it would constantly get in knots, and then I would, hairspray all the time, and then when I'd hairspray when I was like 15, like I would brush my hair and there would be like clumps upon clumps of knots, and it was just so bad. And it was frizzy all the time, and people would come up to me in my first high school and be like, dude, there's like something wrong with the hair. And people would tell me this. They'd be like, your hair's so frizzy, like, maybe it's like curly or something, or there's like a knot in the back of your hair, you might want to get that out. Like, people would constantly come up to me and be like that. Then eventually I figured out something that, helped me change my hair, and then now I have this really, really nice hair that almost never gets in knots. So something that I'd worked so hard to get as well. So that's another thing that I'm appreciative of myself for, because I figured it out. A third thing that I'm appreciative for is people, because I've gotten so lucky. I've gotten so lucky to just meet so many like good people, and hearing their stories, especially because, you know, I moved a lot. I would hear their stories, I would listen to what they would have to say, and then I would implement the tips that they had into my own life. And it's just like broadened my worldview so much where now, like, when I do look across the street, when I do talk to people, I really do conceptualize, like, wow, this person has, you know, so much to offer the world, especially. And I wouldn't even say this was like a self appreciation. I think this is just an appreciation for the world because I believe, like, a good internal grounding of myself, or at least like a better one compared to like 5 years ago. But yeah, that's just the third one that I would say, kind of short, but I think once somebody knows that, you know, there is like very good people in the world, especially, I don't really know if we could explain much on that, but yeah, I don't know. Hopefully this helped you. Hopefully, you know, being appreciative of yourself helps you, because when I started doing this, especially like once like I got that all through, when I got out of the shower, I it made me feel a little bit better. Not like entirely, but I just was like, okay, you know, the boring days are going to be over eventually, and, you know, just me being grateful for what I had just made it, you know, I guess slightly less stale. I reverted back to slightly fresh bakery, and I know that eventually it's going to get back to that soon, not through getting stuff or like acquiring things or, you know, acquiring like a different whatever, but by me being who I am right now, having the achievements that I have right now, having the grounding that I have right now, and that I have like all the tools necessary to be happier with myself. And hopefully that's something that you got from this video, especially because if you implement these and you found that it worked for you, like it had worked for me, I encourage you to comment down below, or just comment down below something that you are grateful for, that you've acquired yourself as well, because I really do want to hear like all your guys' achievements as well. I think that, you know, us like sharing that together would be pretty cool. So I hope you have a good morning, day, or night, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.